back to another Mythology Monday. As you know, the last couple weeks we've been talking about different stories, fables, and things that have influenced me in my writing of the Head, the Heart, and the Heir, my book series. You can see my lovely stack of prequels over there. But today we're going to talk about one that actually is one of the things that sparked me getting into the story, and that is Peter Pan, or more specifically, the idea of the lost boys. So when I was a teenager, I would go camping a lot in provincial parks, which for those of you in other parts of the world like the US, those were like state parks. And I would go camping with my guy friends. I was one of those girls in high school who pretty much all had guy friends because girls drove me crazy. And we were camping in the woods one day and we had our bonfire, we were all just hanging out talking, and I looked around at this group of boys and me and I thought, what if we lived in the woods? What would that be like? And that sparked Alex in the Camp. And the whole story revolved around this girl in the camp, and why is this girl in the camp with these boys, and how did she get there, and why would she want to leave, or does she want to leave? And it spiraled into the entire thing that is now the Head, the Heart, and the Heir series. But so the idea of the lost boys has always intrigued me. And so at the beginning of the Head, the Heart, and the Heir, you have Alex, and essentially, and also I guess in the Spare who became the heir, you have Alex very much in this lost boy type situation, where you have these orphaned boys or abandoned boys in some cases, who are all living in the woods together and are taking care of one another. And it's actually a really beautiful thing because all of them have been abandoned. None of them have like family or anyone who can take care of them. And instead of having to fend for themselves and be on the street and that, they have banded together and are now living in this little area in the woods. And the thing is, they aren't completely alone. I know it seems like they're completely alone because there isn't really a full functioning adult other than the fact that there's older teenage boys and that. But the townspeople know that these boys live in the woods there. And as you see with Ian, where he's a little more active in the short stories than he is in the book itself, they grow up and eventually leave the camp and go find jobs and lives and that. And then they try to help the boys in the camp as much as they can, especially those who stay in Kirsch and are closer to the other people who are staying closer to the camp and that. So Ian and Irma, for example, will continue to help the boys in the camp. And I know when Alex was growing up, Irma was a huge help to her, being the only girl in the camp and not having another girl to talk to. It was very helpful when certain life events happened for a young lady and she's surrounded by men. Irma was a lifesaver at that point because poor Stefan was not having that conversation. But so living in the camp like this has always intrigued me, and the idea of lost boys who take care of each other and yet always have that little rough edge to them really amused me. And the idea of a princess growing up in such a wild setting and thereby having this ridiculously rough edge to her, or this uncouth, we'll say, nature about her that sneaks out even when she's in the castle. She'll sometimes say things or act a certain way that people will be like, or Jessica will be horrified, and Alex is just like, this is what I am. And she just doesn't care because she's like, I spent 12 years in the woods. What do you want from me? And that's just how she is. And I adore her for that. But so, yeah, that is where the idea of the Peter Pan and the Lost Boys came to me. And I have a lot of fun with it. I do like the boys in the camp. I wish the camp scene was longer. In the original draft, it was. But then the problem became that nothing really happened until they get to Dayton or Warren or whatever. And so it was really long with nothing happening. So as much fun as the boys in the camp are, I just couldn't leave the gigantic beginning that I previously had. But yeah, so if you like Lost Boys type things, maybe one day I'll write a short story book about just the silly stuff the camp kids get into, but not anytime soon because I have 8 books to finish for the series. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Mythology Monday and happy reading. Bye.